Hey folks, good morning. 40 Grit here, 40 Grit Studios / 40 Grit Guitars. Today we're going to be going through a 2015. This is a 2015 Fender Custom Shop Relic 60s. Very unique story on this one. Like I said, I've been doing some traveling. Took some time off since January. One of the first thing I did is I'm one of the lucky individuals to still have both my parents. So I jumped a plane and went to Detroit and went to St. Louis to see both of them. My mom's in St. Louis. My mom's in Detroit. My dad's in St. Louis. So I went back to see my dad, and my dad's a motorhead, huge. Worked for Ford for 30 years, and I'm sure that's where I got my monkeying around with stuff from. So shout out to my old man. Love you, Dad. We were just hanging out one day, and he said, "Hey, let's go for a ride." So we went for a drive, stopped at a place, and I said, "Hey, any guitar stores around here?" And he said, "Yeah, I think there's one up the street." So we went up there and walked in, and I'm going to put some pictures on with this so you can see how the guitar looked when I saw it hanging in the shop, how it looked when I bought it, etc. I'll save you a lot of the details, but one of the cool things is I didn't buy it. It was hanging, and I said, "Man, it's a really nice guitar. I really like to have that." But it was a head scratcher for me. And when you see some of the pictures, you'll see why it's a head scratcher in a couple different ways. So we had left, and I entered the serial number in the Fender website. So note to you guys and note to myself, I'm not really a Fender guy. I've got a couple Fenders, but the one I picked that one up in Vegas, it's got a Floyd on it. I like Floyds. Six screws aren't bad, but I'm more of an 80s guy with the Floyd thing. So I entered the serial number on the Fender website, and custom shops don't come up on the website. I didn't know that. So we're driving, and I look up the I punched in the serial number, it didn't come up. So I said, "Yeah, I figured." So I kept driving. So we kept driving, and I said, "I'm just going to call Fender." So I called Fender, and I got on a line with a very helpful individual, and I said, "Hey, I'm looking at this guitar. Do you have the Shop Traveler?" And he said, "Yeah. Here, let me look up the serial number." He sent me the Shop Traveler, which was super cool, on my email immediately. I said, "Dad, turn around. Let's go back." So my dad turned around. We went back. I went in, and I just told the guy, I said, "Hey, man, I'm going to go ahead and take the guitar. I'll figure everything out when I get home." So you'll see on the pictures the things that I may have been concerned about. But anyways, for the price that I got it for, it was worth the risk. Went ahead and said, "Go ahead and ship it to me." And they charged me a fair amount to to ship it. And then we left again, and I'm driving, and we're driving down the road, and I said, "Dad, I think I want to ship it myself." So we turned around again and went back and got the guitar. I said, "Hey, you know what? Never mind the shipping." And they gave my money back on the shipping charge. And we dropped it off at UPS the next day, or FedEx the next day, and they shipped the guitar to me here in Phoenix. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the video. These are great guitars. I'll probably plug it in so you guys can get a sound, but these are not the original pickups. That's the only thing. Like I said, there were a couple of things on this guitar I was like, I just don't know. But the price was worth the risk. It had Yngwie Malmsteens in it. It had a white pickguard, which looked absolutely terrible with graffiti yellow. It's a aged mint green. And so anyways, I'll put it on the bench. We'll go through it here real quick, and then I'll plug it in. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for all the subs. Thanks for everything, all the questions. I really enjoy the questions, and let's put her on the bench. Okay, let's get started on the walk around on this Fender custom shop. So I'm probably going through some more beginner stuff here. Maybe you guys know this already. If you do, just be patient. I'm going to go through some stuff that some people may not know about, which are some kind of cool idiosyncrasies that guitar companies do in order to make sure that the QC process is fulfilled at the end of the build. So this is the Shop Traveler. The Shop Traveler is a list of the guitar. This is what lets every build point of the shop know what you're going to do, what it calls for on the build sheet. Now, as you can see, there's Music Zoo exclusives. There's Wild West guitar exclusive, stuff like that. So what they do is when they order the guitar, that all goes on to the Shop Traveler. As it goes to each station, that station will take a look at what it calls for, and they'll make sure that the specs are done correctly. The worst thing ever, Sir had the same process. We had traveling cases, regular standard guitar cases that traveled through the shop. We would fold these in half, and it would be locked at the top of the case. And then when you open the case up, you would take a look and make sure that everything was done. My job at Sir was final. Me and Jay Medor, who was a master builder at Fender, and Kenny Jin, who was a master at Fender. We were the three final guys before it went to QC. So we went through everything, did the setup, made sure everything was correct, and then it went to QC, Nolan QC. So the worst thing about these is if somebody calls for a no back plate and it gets drilled for a back plate, that's really bad. If it calls for nickel frets and it had stainless steel frets on it, or vice versa, usually that got caught. There were a couple times, as with anything, nothing in life is perfect. A customer will get their guitar and say, hey, you know what, I called for this. And then we look on the Traveler, and yeah, there was a mistake made, so we would correct it. But anyway, Shop Traveler, I brought the Shop Traveler out. Fender sent me this, like I mentioned in the opening, because I wanted to verify that everything on this guitar was, I could put eyes on it. I could tell it was real from the get-go. But I just wanted to have Fender send me the Shop Traveler when I went back to take a second look. So let's go ahead and get this one going. We'll check everything, some stuff on the Shop Traveler, make sure everything looks good, and we'll just go through it here real quick, okay? So if you guys are planning on setting up your own guitars and stuff, you're going to have your nut files out. You're going to want to check everything. I always had mine labeled. I learned that when I was at Sir, just for speed. So when you're grabbing and you're just running through them real quick, I always had mine numbered. Always best, in my opinion, to go with your older ones because they cut less. I always hated new files because I was used to slotting a certain way, and they were usually a little aggressive with brand new files. So, be wary of that. Headstock, everything looks good. The decal was the giveaway for me. When I saw this guitar, I was like, oh boy, this is the real deal. Yeah, so nitro finish on this. Nitro, as we talked about on the in the beginning, there was a sticker on this. So I'll go through all what I went through on that. Nut looks good. Let's go ahead and take a look at the nut height on this. Okay, so before you go work around the nut or anything, make sure that your neck is adjusted correctly. Make sure everything looks good with the neck before you start hogging on anything. I've already gone through this one. I want to say there was one that was low. I want to say it was the G. I went ahead and repaired that. There's a fine line on repairs with regards to nuts before you just replace the nut. But for one string, I'm not going to replace a nut for one string. So there's some good repair videos that I can, or there's some good repair videos out there. Baking soda and some thin super glue will fix that. But like I said, fine line there with regards to replacement versus repair. So everything jived on the Shop Traveler, 21 frets, 9.5-inch radius. The hardware on it, wanted to make sure that the pickguard was right, all that stuff. The pickguard on this was not right. So if you come out to the guitar, nice rosewood fretboard. We get into the relicing process and all that. This pickguard was white when I got it, and they had put Yngwie Malmsteen pickups in it. Joe Bonamassa says it best, if somebody's already molested it, I feel good moving forward. It just is what it is, and you got to move forward. I had some DiMarzio injector pickups in there, middle and a neck and a bridge. I decided to go with a Tone Zone stack pickup in the bridge position because Tone Zone is my favorite DiMarzio pickup, and luckily for me, I had those in stock. I did replace a pickguard to the Age Green because, in my opinion, it looks better on the Relic guitars. and then I went to the aged white on the knobs and the covers and the switch tip. Yeah, let's go through the relicing here real quick. So I'm not going to go through the relicing process too much. You guys can go online and talk about, and research the relicing, because I'm sure that Sir has their own trade secrets that they don't want divulged and stuff like that. So I'm going to refrain from going through some of it. But these guitars are nitro finish, a very thin coat of paint on there. And they usually freeze these now. So, there was a time when they would do it with razor blade. There was a time, for some other processes, but what they're doing now on these is freezing. So, and then you could accentuate the checking on the guitar with certain formulas. There's more than one way to skin a cow, as they say. But yeah, the relic on this one is really good, and as you can see, I fixed that pretty good where that sticker was. I was extremely concerned about that. When I bought the guitar, the first thing I did when I got home is I got my dad's heat gun and warmed it up a little bit. It peeled off nicely, and I was extremely worried about it being faded or something in that area. And luckily enough for me, it was not. So I cleaned that up real good. It did have some residual glue on there that I took care of once it got home, because I just didn't want to go getting crazy with it at my dad's, because I didn't have my correct tools. But hey, everything looks great on this one, and it turned out great. Let's take a look at the back of the guitar. So there's your custom shop. These are team builds. Fender has a couple ways of doing their custom shop stuff. Custom shop is a team build. They have certain guys assigned to guitars, and it goes from bench to bench within the team, and they build the guitar. Then you have the master builders, which their signature will be on the headstock, and you're probably looking at an $8,000 to $10,000 guitar on those. I always wanted to get one of Mike Ponce's guitars, but the ones that I've seen, they're just super expensive now. Mike's a very talented guy. I was lucky to work under all those guys when I was there. The neck was a dead giveaway for me too. I knew it was a Fender when I saw the relic on the back, and I put some eyes on it. You can tell a Fender custom shop relic. Back looks fantastic. Great relicing job on this one. I know that relicing isn't for some people, and relicing is for some people. My theory is I go for more of the feel of the guitar more than the look of it. The look is cool. And to have a relic guitar, when you go to the gig, you never have to worry about putting a bump on your brand new guitar. It just is what it is. So I think I've shown in some of the other videos, I use a Starrett gauge on this, measured in 64ths. 4/64ths was you're on 4/64ths for the treble side, and you'll see 4/64ths on bass side on Sirs. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one, make sure that my adjustments are still good, make sure there's no neck travel on this since I've checked it out. All right, so let's check our neck here real quick. We already checked the nut. Everything on the neck still looks pretty good, looks pretty solid. No concerns there. I got just a little bit of bounce. I'm okay with that. Let's check our action. I'm on 4, on 4, on 4, C4, C4, and C4. Check your pickups. 7 on the, or 8 on the bass side on single coils. 7, and these are starting points for pickups. Pickups, John had a really good method for starting point on pickups. So 8 on bass, 7 on treble, and that's your starting point, and then you can tweak it by ear. On the I went 5/64ths on bass on this one and 4/64ths on treble for the stacked. So everything looks good there. Let's check out the bridge here real quick, and then we'll get her tuned up and ready to play. So standard Fender 6-screw. I had the opportunity to take a tour at Fender a couple times, and they actually make these in-house. It's a pretty cool stamping process. I'm sure that a lot of you have seen the videos, but it's really cool. They make their bridges in-house. So as you can see, I did change out the saddle adjustment screws, because one of my huge pet peeves on 6-screw bent saddles is the adjustment saddles sticking out above the saddle to where they're rubbing on your hand when you're playing. That's just a big no-no. So anyways, always good to pick up a this is a 0.05, just so that it's a lot easier than using a truss rod. You can adjust these, and everything, like I said, is adjusted correctly. If you don't know how to set up a 6-screw, have everything almost down all the way, press the bridge down, put these two to where they're not bringing the bridge up, just to where it's level, and then leave 2, 3, 4, and 5 up just a little bit higher. So then the one securing the bridge will be the outsides. That's usually how you'll keep your Strat in tune. So if you're having tuning problems, check your nut first, and then check your bridge after that. That's the correct way to adjust a 6-screw. Okay, so let's take a look at what these pickups are rated at. I put these are CTS on the tones, and then I think there's an EVH in there, or a Bournes. Bridge is at 12.72. Split, obviously 4.07, middle's at 5.9, split 3.5, and then neck is at 8.65. Again, those are DiMarzio injectors in the middle and the neck, and then I have a tone zone in the bridge. It was already molested. I don't have the original pickups. I wish I did. I was going to pull the pickguard because I had to rewire this, and it really was a work of art on this one. I spent a lot of time on making sure everything looked perfect. So inside, I can assure you behind that pickguard is a work of art, and it looks really nice in there. Nice clean solder joints, nice bright solder joints. I put a .022 orange drop on the on both tones. I did the Eric Johnson on this one, so I'll have tone on bridge. The split, there's not going to be a tone on middle. And then the split, and then the neck will be this one, and then these two will be the tone, the lower tone. That's the Eric Johnson. You're not going to have a tone in the middle. So let's take a look at the weight on the Fender Custom Shop here, the graffiti yellow. Weight will be a nice and comfortable 7.2, probably somewhere around there, for the gig. You can play this one all night. String alignment looks fantastic. And man, what a nice guitar. What an opportunity. All right, I'll go through these real quick. I'm on clean right now. Nothing on middle. Put some dirt on it here real quick. great thing about not editing your videos. Throw mistakes in. That's it. I went through everything. Let's finish her up, and I'll see you guys on the closing. So one of the things I forgot to mention in the opening of this video is it did not come with the Fender Custom Shop case. This was the owner of the shop's guitar, from what I was told, and he buys and sells guitars quite frequently, and rolls them in the shop, once he gets tired of them or whatever. Like I said, this guitar was molested when I got it. No paperwork, no case. It came with a Fender Tweed case, and I got the guitar. So that was definitely one of the risks that I took on it. But it turned out okay in the end. I do want to give a shout out to Atomic Guitars, Peoria, Arizona. My buddy Tim down there sent pictures to Fender, got me the certificate for the guitar. He tore it apart and sent pictures over to Fender. They certified that the guitar was the real deal. And now I have the Shop Traveler, and I have the certificate that goes with the guitar. Fender's good at that. Gibson will not do that. It's a one-shot deal with Gibson with regards to any kind of paperwork. I've got some cool Gibsons we'll be going through too. But yeah, if you lose paperwork on Gibsons, you're just out of luck. So shout out to Fender for sending me the paperwork that kind of completes it for me. I won't sell this guitar, but when the day comes for my son to sell it, or whatever happens, it'll fetch a little more money than it would have without the paperwork. Any questions? Please leave me some questions in the chat, and if I forgot anything, hit me up, and I'd be more than happy to answer that. Again, thank you for all the subs. Really appreciate you guys, and thank you for having so much interest in these videos. I look forward to tomorrow's video. I'll figure out what I'm going to do today. I haven't really thought about it yet. But we'll put something cool on the bench tomorrow. Let me know in the comments if you'd rather see a 6-screw, a Les Paul, a Floyd, or whatever, because I'm doing these videos as the day it posts. I'm not doing anything pre. Some of the stuff I've done pre, but my video shoots are done in the morning because it's kind of hot out here right now. So that gives me some time in the morning to overcome the heat in the garage. So if you guys like to see anything in particular that's on the wall, or anything that you can think of, just send me a note, and then we'll throw it on the bench tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. See you guys on the next one.